I am a bad filmmaker. Let me explain. Over the last few months, I have come to the realization that I have failed to run my wedding filmmaking business the way I think it should have been run. At this point in my career, I've been shooting weddings for about 6.5 years, and right now, in May of 2023, I have a grand total of 6 weddings booked. Last year, I shot 15. But only having 6 weddings booked is not the reason I'm a failure. I didn't fail because of the quality of my films or because of the gear I have. I believe that I failed because I got comfortable. And in that comfortability, I neglected 4 very important things: networking, Instagram, personal growth, and vision. I never really bothered networking with other wedding vendors. I did a little bit, but I was getting what I thought was enough leads just by relying on word of mouth from past clients and friends. But past clients are usually only going to bring in more couples like them, which left me in a stagnant pool of budget brides that I became too expensive for. Because I didn't really network, once I became too expensive for these couples, I had nowhere to go. I was too expensive for the couples in my tier of weddings, but I had no way of accessing the next tier up. I also neglected Instagram. I didn't post consistently, sometimes going months without posting a new video clip. And when I did post, I didn't think strategically about what I was posting. I wasn't thinking about what might appeal to potential brides or what kind of work I wanted to be booking. I was basically just posting to keep video content on the page. But I think the worst thing is that I was slow to grow. And what I mean by that is that I didn't do very much to grow my skills as a storyteller, a camera operator, or as a business owner. I have a habit of getting comfortable where I am and not pushing myself to learn new things. I was so slow to get into drones, and even now I don't really use them that often. I basically never even considered doing what Chris Mai of Goodco Studios calls story sessions, but seeing how masterfully he uses them in his own films, I'm kicking myself for not considering that as an option sooner. Because it's taken me so long to implement new things or take my business in a slightly different direction, I've fallen behind. I got comfortable where I was and didn't push myself forward. And finally, vision. I failed to set a defined vision for my business. In my mind, the end goal for the business kept changing and morphing every few months or so. And to some degree, that's fine and even expected. As we see and experience new things, we're bound to change our goals. But because I didn't have a clear picture of what I was trying to build my business into, I never really knew what my next step forward should be. In the back of my mind, I knew I should probably be networking, but who should I be networking with? Do I go after luxury planners and venues? Do I go down the destination weddings road? Do I take the quantity route and try to build up a team around me? I didn't know. And because I didn't know, I didn't do much. Instead of creating a vision for my business, I just kind of got comfortable where I was and hoped for the best. Now that being said, being comfortable where you're at is not a bad thing. My problem is that I got comfortable too early. I settled into the beginning stages of my business and didn't really progress any further. I did progress some, but not enough to reach the next stage. You know, the one where you actually make enough money to support yourself. So what now? I've failed as a wedding filmmaker, and because of that, inquiries are rarely coming in. And honestly, I don't really have enough bookings to support myself this year. Well, here's the thing. I haven't actually failed. Truly failing requires giving up, throwing in the towel and saying, that's it, I'm done. If I gave up and closed down my business, then yes, I would have failed. But that hasn't happened. And to be honest, I'm probably being harder on myself than I really need to be. Yes, my business has taken a hit, and I feel like I can see a lot of the reasons why. That doesn't mean I'm a failure though. I've just made some poor business decisions. So here's my plan for rebuilding. I've been filming weddings for quite a while now, and I've come to realize that I just don't really love traditional weddings as much anymore. I find myself connecting more with couples who elope or have a more intimate wedding. After many conversations with my wife, she's also my business partner, we decided to shift the direction of our business and niche into destination weddings and elopements. I know it's going to be a journey to get there, but I'm hoping that by addressing the 4 areas that led me to this point, I can work my way into this new niche. So let me break down how I plan to approach these 4 areas: networking, Instagram, personal growth, and vision. I'm actually going to start with vision because it's going to be the driving force behind everything else that I do. Now that my wife and I have decided to change direction and target destination elopements and intimate weddings, I have a way clearer picture of what I'm trying to achieve. In making that decision, we kind of treated it like we were starting our business from scratch. We defined our ideal client, gave them a name, a job, hobbies, interests, a yearly salary, a city to live in, really fleshing them out into an avatar of a real person. Doing this allowed us to structure our business around that person to best serve and market to them. We also redid our branding and website to better suit our ideal client and the type of work we're after, bringing everything into place with the goal of achieving that vision. Over the last year or so, I've heard basically all of the top wedding filmmakers say that the main place their inquiries are coming from is vendor referrals, specifically planners, venues, photographers, and I've even heard florists. Now, I'm definitely not the person who should be giving advice on how to network with vendors, but here is my personal plan for networking in the coming years. I have two main ways I'll be networking: cold emails and what I'm going to call vendor experience. I've only just started doing cold emailing, so I can't really speak to its effectiveness or even how to do it, but I will advocate for the networking email templates created by Emma Burke of Emma K Films. I recently purchased those and have found them very much worth the money, even though I haven't seen a huge response at this point. The knowledge and tips she provides in that little package are very, very useful. I'm very hopeful that this method of cold emailing will allow me to break into a different side of the wedding industry and start connecting with planners and venues I've never had contact with before. The other method that I'll go into is very much tied to a wedding day, but cold emailing lets me connect with vendors I've never met or worked with before. Let me set up my second networking method by stating that above all else, just be a pleasure to work with. Being kind and respectful to the other vendors you work with is going to do so much for you just by itself. And that is ultimately the backbone that I'm building all of my networking off of. If you're not nice to be around, none of what I'm about to say will matter. You can be amazing at marketing yourself, but if you're rude to your fellow vendors and difficult to collaborate with, nobody is going to recommend you. And going right along with that, be genuinely interested in building relationships and connections with these other vendors. Yes, I will be doing these things because I want more business, but I do truly want to build relationships with these people. All right, on to the second networking method. I'm going to start each wedding by emailing basically every vendor the week of the wedding and introducing myself. A fairly short email just saying, "Hey, my name is Josh. I'm going to be the filmmaker for Joe and Lizzie's wedding this Saturday." These will of course be more customized to the individual vendor, but this will at least get them familiar with my name and my role during the wedding. While I'm at the wedding, I will introduce myself to all the vendors and get to know them a little bit better, build up some rapport with them. During the course of the wedding day, I will specifically capture B-roll of each vendor in action, or at least B-roll of their particular service. For example, I would film the florist setting up the floral arch for the ceremony and be sure to get footage of both the florals themselves and the florist setting everything up. There's obviously limits to this, and the couple definitely needs to come first, but as much as possible, that's my goal. After the wedding, I'll create Instagram Reels specifically tailored to each vendor from the footage I captured. Anything from 15 to 45 seconds is my goal. And if it's a vendor I particularly want to work with, I may end up creating 2 or 3 Reels for them. I'll make sure to get those sent out within a week of the wedding so that I'm still fresh on their minds. Getting them out within 48 hours is ideal, but that's obviously quite hard to do. And then once the final wedding film is finished and delivered to the couple, I will also send that out to each of the vendors. Now, I know this all sounds very clinical because I'm just listing these steps out, but that's not my intention. I will ultimately want to create friendships with these people. I want to have left such a good impression from my initial email to the wedding day to giving them surprise BTS content to the delivery of the final film that they walk away from the experience going, "Wow, I have to work with Josh again, and my clients need to have him as their videographer." I want them to see and experience my professionalism and for them to want to recommend me because of that. And I can say from firsthand experience that this does work. I recently attended a styled shoot at a photography studio, and from the beginning, I decided that I was going to do everything I could to impress and provide value to the studio owner. So during the course of the day, I filmed some short clips here and there of the owner setting up different props, moving backdrops, shots of the photographers in attendance. I also made sure to help out wherever I could, moving tables, helping clean up. After the shoot, I went home and edited 2 BTS reels and sent them over to the owner within 48 hours. About 3 days later, she emails me and tells me that she's been wanting to add videography services to her media agency and wants to subcontract me to handle her entire video department. And I'm really not sharing this as a brag. I want this to be an encouragement that going above and beyond and providing value to fellow vendors can get you more work. My plan for Instagram is basically just to post at least once a week. I'm mostly kidding. It is a little bit more involved than that. Because I want to shift my business towards destination weddings and elopements, I need to be posting content that highlights that type of work. So as much as possible, I'm going to try and only post stuff that resembles the type of work I want to do. This is definitely going to be difficult though, since I don't really have any ideal clients booked right now. I'll probably need to invest in some styled shoots or go out and create some content on my own, specifically for Instagram. And I of course do want to be posting at least once a week. On top of that though, I want to get better about posting videos that people actually want to watch. And that's just going to come down to me finding popular content and trying to decipher what it is about it that's resonating with people. Or going to successful wedding filmmakers and looking at what kinds of content they're posting. The 2 things I would like to target in this area are mentorships and studying other filmmakers' films. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of spare cash lying around at the moment, so mentorships are kind of off the table right now. But I do think continuing to invest in mentorships and education is extremely important. I would love to be in a rhythm of regular mentor sessions with creators that I look up to 2-3 times a year, and investing in new filmmaking courses every 1 to 2 years when a valuable one comes along. Even going out and second shooting or assisting a filmmaker you look up to can be a great way to learn from them. This can definitely be hard to do, as I've found out, but not impossible. I've actually been really blessed this year with the opportunity to second shoot multiple times for a luxury wedding filmmaker I very much look up to. And you better freaking believe I'm going to soak up as much knowledge as I possibly can. The other way I hope to continue growing is by simply watching other filmmakers' wedding films and taking a bunch of notes. Looking at the way they compose their shots, how and when they use a drone, and how they use story elements. And when I see something that I resonate with, I'm going to do my best to implement that element into my own filmmaking. Well, there you have it. That's my plan moving forward. I'm just starting down this new road, and I honestly have no idea if putting these things into practice will actually change anything for me. I may very well be back here next year making another video about why my business still hasn't taken off. But what I can say is that I am not giving up on wedding filmmaking. I desperately want this to work, and I also want to grow as a filmmaker. I want to tell better stories and provide a better experience to my couples. Hopefully, committing to these things will allow me to do that. I did want to take just a quick second and say, if there's anyone watching this that resonates with what I've been talking about, maybe you're also low on bookings and feeling stuck, you are not a failure. Your business may not be where you want it to be, but that doesn't make you a failure. Keep pushing toward your goals, learn from other people who are further along than you, and stop comparing yourself to people on Instagram. Seriously, it's horrible for you, and the person you're looking up to probably doesn't even have everything that you think they do. Okay. Bye. One more thing. Huge thank you to Andrew Gilford for giving me some really, really great notes on this video. Thank you, man. And right now, that's a train. Just gonna wait for that to go by, I guess. Gosh dang it. This microphone smells bad. Why? Trains have gone by as I've been setting up, and none of them are as long as this one. What the heck? What is going on? I ran out of microphone. I don't know where to put my phone now. You can see everywhere. I can't actually read the teleprompter from here. Oh good, another train.